Dear brothers and sisters, something great is happening now, even if the news is silent, even if governments do not recognize it, even if many do not even realize it. Colombia has awakened. The world is changing at an accelerated pace. From the east, Chinese elders continue to move their pieces on the board of the global financial reset. But while everyone was looking at the dragon, the digital glows and the quantum channels, almost no one noticed what was quietly emerging here, on our continent. Today, it is no longer a matter of waiting for the powers to decide. It is a matter of recognizing that Colombia is no longer a spectator, it is a strategic protagonist. A nation that, far from the spotlight, has become the guardian of one of the greatest ancestral riches on the planet. Yes, you heard correctly. More than 70% of the numismatic assets of high energetic and historical value that are being recovered on the global scene belong to Colombian hands and owners who have stored their assets in Colombia. These are real, legitimate assets, with spiritual backing and vibrational purpose. This is not theory. It is not speculation. It is an ongoing reality. And this is where this new narrative begins. A story that is not being written on Wall Street, nor in the corridors of old international institutions, but in the sacred regions of Colombia, in the humble hands of those who have silently guarded for generations the secrets of a time that would return. While sectors of the old power try to erect legal and banking barriers to prevent the flow of legitimate resources, the community's response has been strategic: silence, wisdom, and coordinated action. Conclaves have been held. Alliances have been activated. And most importantly, a spiritual commitment to planetary redemption has been made. Because this is not just about money. It is about vibrational justice. About historical restoration. About reconnecting with the original mission of a nation. From this point of awareness, we know that the time is now. The funds are ready. And for the first time in a long time, Colombia is not waiting for orders. It is leading. For decades, this country was seen as a rich land exploited by others. Its treasures were labeled and traded with foreign accents. But now, in the context of global transition, an indisputable truth emerges. Colombia was not just rich. It was essential. Deep in its mountains, in forgotten villages, in silent families, were stored assets of incalculable value: coins, tokens, documents, and codes that carry memory, energy, and mission. These assets were waiting for the right moment. And that moment has arrived. What was once ignored is now essential. What was once seen as relics is now the key to redemption. Colombia has become the center of one of the greatest transfers of legitimate wealth in modern history. Without fanfare, without scandal, only with truth, preparation, and integrity. This did not happen by chance. It was the result of resistance, disciplined silence, and unshakable faith. The families who are guardians of these assets never sought validation from the banks. They knew from the beginning that there was a promise to be kept. Not a promise made by governments, but by a higher order, the order of universal balance. Today, we see the empires of debt and plunder crumbling. And in this space that is opening up, new codes, new protagonists, and new routes emerge. Colombia, with more than 70% of the assets rescued, is not just participating. It is showing the way. Regions that were once forgotten are now receiving strategic visits. Representatives of international alliances are reaching places where there were no roads before. Because they understand, what is being held there is not just gold or silver, but a vibrational legacy, a gateway to justice. This process is not just transactional. It is spiritual and collective. Each asset rescued represents a restored frequency. The earth returns what was stolen from it. Time restores those that were hidden. History is beginning to be rewritten, this time from the south, from the sacred, from the heart of the people. And when we say that Colombia has awakened, we are not talking about politics. We are talking about a reconfiguration of consciousness. An energetic repositioning on the world stage. Now, Colombia dictates its own terms. This destabilizes the old systems, because they did not expect the new to emerge from where they always wanted to keep quiet. Today, the guardians of these assets, which are on average 15 whales, are not just heirs. They are channels. Conscious channels with a higher mission. They are structuring routes, sealing alliances, creating legal and vibrational structures for receiving funds. They are aligning everything with the QFS, the new quantum financial system, which operates by frequency, not by imposition. This work was not improvised. It was woven with patience and strategy. Because it is not just about releasing funds but to ensure that they fulfill their mission, to serve, to heal, to restore. Committees were created. Protocols were activated. Funds were prepared. But above all, hearts were calibrated. Because redemption without purpose is chaos. And abundance without ethics is waste. Here, the participants of the official GESARA channel community, those who have been with us for years, have already understood. The money that arrives needs to be clean, vibrationally ordered, and spiritually oriented. That is why today, decisions are made based on mission, not on personal interest. Those who only seek to accumulate do not pass through the filters of the new system. But those who serve, remain. Those who for years were ridiculed for believing are now seeing the signs. Not in headlines, but in internal confirmations, already mentioned before, of how this process works in its grandeur. The quantum system does not shout. It whispers. It reveals itself in the precision of synchronicities. In the right encounters. In the doors that open lightly. In several regions of Colombia, private meetings, technical validations and vibrational confirmations are underway. The channels have been opened. And once a quantum channel is activated, it cannot be turned back. This is irreversible. Now, the system responds to coherence, not bureaucracy. To frequency, not title. To mission, not ego. The time for waiting is over. We are in the time for conscious action. That is why Colombia is no longer just awakening. It is pulsating. It is guiding. It is teaching. And the world is beginning to notice. Because when a people aligns itself with its mission, nothing can stop it. And the question that remains is not whether you have assets, but whether you are prepared, whether you are aware, whether you have the courage to sustain what is coming. Colombia did not get here by chance. It got here because it saved, because it honored, because it did not sell out. And now finally, it occupies the place that has always been its, that of guardian, of conductor, of example of conscious redemption. And this is just the beginning. And you who are reading or listening to this, should know that this is no coincidence. If you are part of this community, you are already on the call. This is no time to be distracted.